There's still a lot of work to be done. That night, I received an email from Maya, who was away at college. She had been closely following the developments and wanted to share her thoughts. "Dad, I've been reading about the training program you're leading at the dealership. It's amazing what you're doing. I'm so inspired by your dedication to making a difference. I've decided to focus my studies on civil rights law so I can join you in this fight for justice." Reading her words, I felt a deep sense of fulfillment. This journey, born out of a painful experience, was not just about seeking justice for myself. It was about paving the way for a more equitable future for my daughter and countless others. As the months passed, the dealership transformed. Employees who had once been skeptical became advocates for the program. Customer satisfaction improved, and the dealership regained its standing in the community. More importantly, it became a model for other businesses, demonstrating that with commitment and effort, meaningful change was possible. Looking back, I realized that the incident at the dealership had set me on a path I never anticipated. It was a path filled with challenges and hard work, but also one of profound impact and lasting change. And as I stood at the forefront of this movement, I knew that our fight for justice and equality was far from over. But for the first time, I felt hopeful that we were making real progress. 7. Development of the Inclusion Program ****. I threw myself into the task of developing an inclusion program with the same fervor and dedication that I had always brought to my legal cases. This was more than just a professional challenge. It was a deeply personal mission to change the narrative and ensure that no one else would have to endure the humiliation I faced that day at the dealership. To start, I assembled a team of experts in diversity and inclusion. These were individuals who had dedicated their careers to understanding the nuances of systemic racism and crafting strategies to combat it in corporate settings. Among them was Dr. Angela Harris, a renowned sociologist whose research focused on racial dynamics in the workplace, and James O'Neill, a corporate trainer with a reputation for transforming company cultures. During our first meeting, the atmosphere was charged with a sense of purpose. As we sat around the large conference table, I could see the determination in everyone's eyes. "We have a unique opportunity here," I began, addressing the group. "This isn't just about changing one dealership. This is about setting a precedent for businesses across the nation. We need to create a program that is not only effective but also sustainable." Dr. Harris nodded in agreement. "We need to approach this from multiple angles. It's not just about training. It's about creating an environment where diversity is truly valued and inclusion is a daily practice." James O'Neill chimed in, "We need to engage employees at every level. From the top executives to the sales staff, everyone must be on board. This can't just be a checkbox exercise. It has to be a fundamental shift in the company's culture." We spent weeks developing the curriculum. The program was structured around several core components: awareness, education, and action. We kicked off with a series of workshops designed to raise awareness about the pervasive issues of racism and unconscious bias. These sessions were intense, often emotional, but they were necessary to break down the barriers of ignorance and denial. One memorable workshop involved a powerful exercise led by Dr. Harris. She divided the participants into small groups and gave each group a scenario involving a customer facing discrimination. The groups then had to discuss how they would handle the situation. As I walked around the room, I overheard a conversation between two salesmen, Rick and Tom. "This really opened my eyes," Rick said, his voice tinged with regret. "I never realized how some of my actions could be perceived as discriminatory." Tom nodded, looking equally thoughtful. "Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in stereotypes without even thinking about it. We need to do better." These moments of realization were crucial. They marked the beginning of a shift in mindset. However, awareness alone wasn't enough. We needed to equip the employees with the knowledge and skills to act differently. The education component of the program involved in-depth training sessions on cultural competency, communication, and conflict resolution. We brought in guest speakers, including activists and scholars, to provide diverse perspectives and real-world insights. One of the most impactful speakers was Lisa, my wife, who shared her own experiences with racism and her vision for a more inclusive society. "I remember feeling invisible," Lisa recounted during one session, "walking into a store and being followed around, as if I was a suspect rather than a customer. It's dehumanizing, and it's something no one should have to endure. But change is possible if we all commit to it." Her words resonated deeply with the audience. I could see the impact on their faces, a mix of empathy and determination. It was moments like these that reinforced the importance of our mission. The final component of the program focused on action. We developed protocols and policies to ensure that the principles of diversity and inclusion were embedded in every aspect of the dealership's operations. This included revising hiring practices, implementing a zero-tolerance policy for discrimination, and establishing a system for employees to report incidents without fear of retaliation. To ensure accountability, we set up regular assessments and feedback mechanisms. We wanted to create a culture of continuous improvement, where employees felt empowered to contribute to the ongoing evolution of the program. As the months went by, I began to see tangible signs of progress. The dealership's atmosphere started to change. Employees were more engaged, more respectful, and more committed to creating a welcoming environment for all customers. I remember one particular day when I walked into the showroom and saw a diverse group of customers being attended to with genuine care and professionalism. It was a stark contrast to my initial experience, and it filled me with a sense of pride and hope. One afternoon, as I was reviewing some reports in my office, James O'Neill stopped by. "Marcus, you need to see this," he said, handing me a letter. It was from a customer who had recently purchased a car from the dealership. The letter read, "I wanted to share my experience at your dealership. As an African-American woman, I've often felt unwelcome in places like this. But from the moment I walked in, I was treated with respect and kindness. Your employees went above and beyond to make me feel valued. Thank you for creating a place where people like me can feel at ease." Reading those words brought tears to my eyes. It was a testament to the hard work and dedication of everyone involved in the program. It was proof that change was not only possible but was happening right before our eyes. But our work was far from over. The success at the dealership was just the beginning. Word of the program's impact began to spread, and soon, other companies started reaching out for guidance. I received invitations to speak at conferences and consult with businesses in various industries. The movement we had started was gaining momentum, and it was both exhilarating and humbling to be at the forefront of such a significant shift. Throughout this journey, my family remained my greatest source of strength and inspiration. Lisa continued to be my rock, offering unwavering support and insight. Maya, now more determined than ever to pursue a career in law, became actively involved in our initiatives. Together, we were making a difference, one step at a time. As I reflect on the journey from that fateful day at the dealership to the present, I am filled with a profound sense of gratitude and purpose. What began as a painful encounter with discrimination had transformed into a powerful movement for justice and equality. And though the road ahead was still long, I knew we were on the right path, driven by the belief that every person deserves to be treated with dignity and respect, regardless of the color of their skin. #recognition and expansion. The success of the Diversity and Inclusion program at the dealership was nothing short of transformative. It didn't just change the culture within the dealership, it rippled outward, garnering attention from other businesses, industries, and even media outlets. My phone started ringing off the hook with requests for interviews, speaking engagements, and consultations. What started as a deeply personal battle against discrimination had now evolved into a nationwide movement, with me somewhat reluctantly becoming its figurehead. One of the first significant recognitions came from a major business conference that focused on corporate responsibility and ethical practices. I was invited to speak about the challenges and successes of implementing a robust diversity and inclusion program. Initially, I was hesitant. Public speaking had never been my forte, but I realized that my story could inspire others to take bold steps toward equality and justice. So, I accepted the invitation. As I stood on the stage, looking out at a sea of faces, I felt a mixture of anxiety and determination. I started my speech by recounting the incident at the dealership, detailing the humiliation and pain I had felt. The audience was visibly moved. I could see nods of agreement and hear murmurs of empathy. "We cannot let such incidents go unchallenged," I said, my voice gaining strength as I spoke. "Discrimination is not just a personal affront, it is a systemic issue that needs to be addressed at every level of society. And it starts with us, each one of us, taking a stand." After the speech, I was approached by several business leaders who were eager to implement similar programs in their own companies. One of them was Amanda Green, the CEO of a large tech company. She looked at me with eyes full of determination. "Marcus, your story is both heartbreaking and inspiring. We need to do better, and I want your help to make it happen in my company," she said, extending her hand. I shook her hand firmly. "I'd be honored, Amanda. Let's make this change together." And so began my journey into consulting. I worked closely with Amanda and her team to develop a comprehensive diversity and inclusion program tailored to the unique challenges of the tech industry. We conducted workshops, training sessions, and even created mentorship programs to ensure that employees from underrepresented backgrounds had the support they needed to succeed. Word spread quickly, and soon I was receiving invitations from various sectors: finance, healthcare, education, and more. Each industry had its own set of challenges, but the underlying principles of respect, equality, and inclusion were universal. I found myself traveling across the country, meeting incredible people who were committed to making a difference. One of the most memorable consultations was with a large healthcare organization. The CEO, Dr. Raj Patel, was deeply committed to creating a more inclusive environment for both employees and patients. He had heard about my work and was eager to implement similar initiatives in his hospitals. "Marcus, the healthcare sector is in dire need of this change. We deal with people from all walks of life, and it's crucial that our staff reflects that diversity," Dr. Patel said during our first meeting. I nodded in agreement. "Absolutely, Dr. Patel. And it's not just about hiring diverse staff, it's about creating an environment where everyone feels valued and respected." We worked tirelessly to develop a program that included cultural competency training, bias awareness workshops, and a robust support system for minority employees. The impact was profound. Staff morale improved, patient satisfaction scores increased, and the organization became a model for others to follow. As the movement grew, so did the media attention. I was featured in several high-profile magazines and news outlets. One day, I received a call from a well-known talk show host, inviting me to share my story on national television. It was an opportunity one couldn't pass up. During the interview, the host, Sarah Connors, asked me about the origins of my activism. "Marcus, you started this journey because of a personal experience with discrimination. Did you ever imagine it would grow into something so impactful?" she asked. I took a moment to reflect before answering. "Honestly, Sarah, I didn't. I was just a man who got fed up with being treated unfairly and decided to fight back. But what I've learned is that my story isn't unique. There are countless others who have faced similar challenges, and together, we've created a powerful movement for change." The audience erupted in applause, and I felt a sense of pride and gratitude. This wasn't just my victory, it was a collective triumph for everyone who had ever faced discrimination. As the movement gained momentum, I realized that I needed to scale my efforts. I couldn't be everywhere at once, and the demand for my expertise was growing. So, I decided to create a foundation dedicated to promoting diversity and inclusion across all sectors. I enlisted the help of experts, activists, and community leaders to form a board of directors, and we set to work creating resources, training programs, and advocacy initiatives. The foundation quickly became a beacon of hope and change. We launched campaigns to raise awareness about discrimination, provided grants to support grassroots organizations, and offered consulting services to businesses committed to making a difference. Our work was making a tangible impact, and I couldn't have been prouder. One day, as I was reviewing the foundation's progress, I received a call from an unexpected source. It was the CEO of a major automobile manufacturer. "Marcus, your work with the dealership industry has been nothing short of revolutionary. We'd like to partner with you to develop a comprehensive diversity and inclusion program for our entire organization," he said. I was taken aback. This was a massive opportunity to influence change on an even larger scale. "Thank you for reaching out. I'd be honored to work with your team to create meaningful and lasting change," I replied. And so, our partnership began. We developed an ambitious plan that included everything from hiring practices to marketing strategies, all designed to promote diversity and inclusion. The manufacturer committed substantial resources to the initiative, and the results were remarkable. Employee satisfaction soared, customer loyalty increased, and the company became a leader in corporate responsibility. As the years passed, the movement continued to grow. We expanded our reach internationally, working with organizations around the world to promote equality and justice. I became a sought-after speaker at global conferences, sharing our successes and challenges with audiences eager to learn. Despite the recognition and accolades, I remained grounded in the mission that had started it all: to fight against discrimination and create a world where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. The journey was far from over, but I knew that we were making a difference, one step at a time. One evening, as I sat with my family reflecting on everything we had accomplished, Maya turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "Dad, you've done so much to change the world. What's next?" she asked. I smiled, feeling a sense of fulfillment. "Maya, the fight for justice and equality is a lifelong journey. There's always more work to be done. But with people like you by my side, I know we can continue to make a difference." Lisa nodded in agreement. "And we'll be right there with you, every step of the way." In that moment, I realized that the true measure of our success wasn't just in the programs we implemented or the accolades we received. It was in the lives we touched, the minds we changed, and the hope we inspired. The movement for justice and equality was bigger than any one person, and together, we would continue to fight for a better world for generations to come. Climax of the trial. The courtroom was packed, buzzing with anticipation. The trial had been a long and arduous journey, filled with emotional testimonies, damning evidence, and powerful arguments. But today, it all came to a head. Today, the justice system would decide whether the concessionaire that had humiliated me would be held accountable for their blatant discrimination. I sat at the plaintiff's table, my heart pounding in my chest. My wife, Lisa, and my daughter, Maya, were in the front row, their faces a mixture of pride and anxiety. They had been my rock throughout this entire ordeal, and their unwavering support had given me the strength to keep fighting. The defense attorney stood up and began his closing argument. He tried to paint a picture of a concessionaire that had made mistakes but had taken steps to rectify them. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury," he began, "my clients acknowledge that mistakes were made. However, they have taken significant measures to address these issues. They have implemented a comprehensive diversity training program and have shown a commitment to change. We ask that you consider these efforts when making your decision." I couldn't help but feel a surge of anger at his words. They were trying to downplay the severity of what had happened, to minimize the pain and humiliation I had experienced. But my attorney, Sarah, was ready. She stood up, her presence commanding the room. "Ladies and gentlemen," Sarah began, her voice steady and powerful, "the defense wants you to believe that their actions were sufficient, that their implementation of a diversity program somehow absolves them of their past transgressions. But let us not forget why we are here. This case is not just about one incident. It is about a pattern of discrimination, a systemic issue that this concessionaire has perpetuated for far too long." Sarah walked over to the jury, making eye contact with each member. "We have presented you with overwhelming evidence of this discrimination. We have heard testimonies from other victims. We have seen the internal communications that reveal a culture of prejudice. And while it is commendable that they have taken steps to address these issues, we must remember that these changes only came about because of the pressure from our movement." She paused, letting her words sink in. "This is not about punishing them for trying to change. This is about holding them accountable for the harm they caused, for the lives they impacted. This is about justice." As Sarah returned to her seat, I felt a sense of relief. She had articulated everything I felt, everything I wanted the jury to understand. Now, it was in their hands. The judge gave his final instructions to the jury, and they were sent to deliberate. The tension in the room was palpable as we waited. Minutes felt like hours, and I found myself holding my breath every time the door to the jury room opened, hoping it was the moment they would return with a verdict. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the jury re-entered the courtroom. The foreman stood up, holding a piece of paper that would determine the outcome of this long battle. "Has the jury reached a verdict?" the judge asked. "We have, Your Honor," the foreman replied. The courtroom fell silent as the foreman began to read. "In the case of Marcus Williams versus the concessionaire, we find the defendant guilty of racial discrimination. We recommend that the concessionaire be required to pay substantial damages to the plaintiff and to continue their diversity program under rigorous supervision." A wave of relief washed over me. We had done it. Justice had been served. The courtroom erupted in applause, and I felt tears well up in my eyes. Lisa and Maya rushed to my side, embracing me tightly. "We did it, Marcus," Lisa whispered, her voice choked with emotion. We really did it. Yes, we did, I replied, holding them close. This is just the beginning. We have so much more work to do. In the days that followed, the news of our victory spread like wildfire. The concessionaire was held accountable, and the message was clear: discrimination would not be tolerated. The substantial damages awarded to me would be used to further our cause, to support our non-profit organization, and to help other victims of discrimination. But the most significant impact was the ripple effect it had on other businesses. Companies across the nation began to reassess their own practices, to implement diversity training programs, and to make genuine efforts to create inclusive environments. Our victory had sparked a movement, one that was growing stronger every day. One afternoon, as I was reviewing some documents in my office, I received a phone call. It was from an old friend, James, who had become an influential politician. "Marcus, I've been following your case closely," James said. "What you and your team have accomplished is nothing short of remarkable. But I have some news that I think you'll find interesting." "What is it?" I asked, curiosity piqued. "There's a group of African American investors who have been inspired by your story. They want to support you in opening your own concessionaire, one that is built on principles of equality and respect. They're offering to provide the capital and resources you need to get started." I was stunned. The idea of owning my own concessionaire had never crossed my mind, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. This was an opportunity to create something truly different, to set a new standard in the industry. "James, this is incredible," I said, excitement building in my voice. "I have to discuss this with Lisa and Maya, but I think this could be exactly what we need to take our mission to the next level." That evening, I shared the news with my family. Lisa's eyes lit up with enthusiasm, and Maya, now more determined than ever to become a lawyer and fight for justice, was thrilled at the prospect. "Dad, this is amazing!" Maya exclaimed. "We can create a place where everyone is treated with respect, where no one has to go through what you did. This could be our chance to make a real difference." With my family's support and the backing of the investors, we began the process of opening our own concessionaire. It was a daunting task, but we were driven by a shared vision of equality and justice. Our concessionaire, aptly named Unity Motors, quickly gained a reputation for its exceptional customer service and commitment to diversity. We hired a diverse team of employees and implemented comprehensive training programs to ensure that every customer was treated with respect and dignity. Unity Motors became a symbol of change, attracting customers from all walks of life. It was not just a business, it was a movement, a testament to what could be achieved when people came together to fight for what was right. As I stood in the showroom of Unity Motors, looking out at the diverse group of employees and satisfied customers, I felt a profound sense of accomplishment. We had turned a moment of humiliation into a powerful message of justice and reconciliation. And while the fight against discrimination was far from over, we had taken a significant step forward. "Maya," I called out, seeing my daughter talking to a customer. She looked up and smiled, making her way over to me. "I want you to know how proud I am of you. You've been a big part of this journey, and I have no doubt you'll make an incredible lawyer one day." "Thanks, Dad," Maya replied, hugging me tightly. "And thank you for showing me the importance of standing up for what's right. Together, we can make a difference." As we stood there, united in our mission, I knew that the future held endless possibilities. The battle for equality and justice was a long one, but with determination, courage, and the support of those who believed in the cause, we were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Upon celebrating our courtroom victory, I was overwhelmed with a sense of triumph and relief. But little did I know, the journey was far from over. As we gathered with friends and family to celebrate our success in the lawsuit against the dealership, an unexpected revelation came to light. One of the journalists covering our story had dug deeper into the dealership's history and found something shocking. "Marcus, you need to see this," my friend and investigative journalist Tanya said, pulling me aside. She had a grave expression on her face, one that immediately made my heart sink. "What is it, Tanya?" I asked, bracing myself for the news. "We found out that one of the employees who humiliated you at the dealership has a history of similar incidents. He's been involved in multiple cases of racial discrimination, all of which were covered up by the dealership's administration." I was stunned. "You're telling me this wasn't the first time?" "No, Marcus. It seems he's been protected by the management for a long time. But now, with all the media attention and the legal scrutiny, They can't hide it anymore. The authorities are already on it. He's going to be arrested and face multiple charges." At that moment, a mix of emotions washed over me. Anger, vindication, and a burning desire for justice. This was more than just about me. It was about every person who had suffered silently at the hands of this man and the discriminatory practices of the dealership. Later that evening, as I sat with my wife, Lisa, and my daughter, Maya, I shared the news with them. "Maya, Lisa, you won't believe what Tanya found out," I began, my voice shaking slightly with the weight of the revelation. "What is it, Marcus?" Lisa asked, concern evident in her eyes. I took a deep breath. One of the employees who treated me so terribly at the dealership has a long history of doing the same to others. The dealership covered it up, but now he's been exposed. He's going to be arrested and face charges for his actions. Maya's eyes widened with a mixture of shock and anger. How could they cover it up for so long? This is outrageous. "I know, sweetheart," I said, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "But we're finally seeing some justice. This is what we've been fighting for." As the news spread, the dealership faced an even bigger backlash. The arrest of the employee and the revelation of the cover-ups caused a public outcry. People were demanding accountability, not just from the dealership, but from all businesses that had similar practices. Amidst this storm, I received a call that would change the course of my journey once again. "Mr. Williams, this is Eric Johnson. I represent a group of African American investors who have been closely following your case and your incredible work. We'd like to discuss a potential partnership with you." "Partnership? What kind of partnership?" I asked, intrigued but cautious. "We're interested in supporting you to open your own car dealership, one that stands as a beacon of equality, respect, and excellent service for all customers, regardless of their race." I was taken aback. "You want me to open a dealership? That's a massive undertaking." "Yes, it is," Eric acknowledged. "But we believe you are the right person to lead this initiative. Your legal expertise, your passion for justice, and your personal experience make you uniquely qualified. We want to turn this negative experience into a powerful message of change and empowerment." I took a moment to process this. It was a monumental step, one I hadn't anticipated. But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. This was an opportunity to create real, lasting change, to build something that would stand as a testament to our fight against discrimination. I discussed the offer with Lisa and Maya that evening. "Can you believe it? They want me to open my own dealership," I said, still in awe of the idea. Lisa smiled, her eyes shining with pride. "Marcus, this is incredible. You've turned a painful experience into a catalyst for change. This could be your chance to make a real difference." Maya was equally enthusiastic. "Dad, you have to do this. Imagine how many people you can help, how many minds you can change. This is what we've been fighting for." Their support and belief in me were all I needed. I knew this was the right path. The next few months were a whirlwind of planning and preparation. I worked closely with a group of investors, assembling a team of dedicated professionals who shared our vision. We focused on creating a dealership that not only offered top-quality cars but also prioritized exceptional customer service and ensured a welcoming environment for everyone. We implemented comprehensive training programs on diversity and inclusion, drawing from the successful model we had developed for the dealership we sued. Every employee, from sales representatives to senior management, underwent rigorous training to understand the importance of treating every customer with respect and dignity. On the day of our grand opening, I stood in front of the newly minted dealership, surrounded by family, friends, and supporters. The air was thick with anticipation and excitement. Lisa and Maya were by my side, their smiles reflecting the pride and hope we all felt. As I stepped up to the podium to address the crowd, I took a moment to reflect on the journey that had brought us here. From the painful humiliation at the dealership to the courtroom victory, and now, to this incredible new beginning. "Thank you all for being here today," I began, my voice steady and strong. "This dealership represents more than just a business. It represents our collective fight for justice, equality, and respect. It stands as a symbol of what we can achieve when we come together and demand change." The crowd erupted in applause, and I continued, "This journey started with a painful experience, but it has led to something beautiful and powerful. We are here to ensure that no one has to face discrimination when they walk through these doors. This is a place where everyone is welcome, where everyone is treated with the dignity they deserve. As I looked out at the faces in the crowd, I saw a tapestry of diversity, of people united in their commitment to change. It was a moment of triumph, not just for me, but for everyone who had been part of this journey. After the ceremony, as we mingled with guests and celebrated this new chapter, Maya pulled me aside. "Dad, I'm so proud of you," she said, her eyes shining with emotion. "You've shown me what it means to stand up for what's right, to fight for justice. I want to be just like you when I become a lawyer." I hugged her tightly, my heart swelling with pride. "Thank you, Maya. And I know you will be an incredible lawyer. You'll make a difference in ways we can't even imagine yet." As the day came to a close, I felt a profound sense of fulfillment. We had turned a painful experience into a powerful message of hope and change. This dealership was more than just a business. It was a beacon of justice and equality, a testament to our resilience and determination. And as I stood there, surrounded by my family and community, I knew that this was just the beginning. The fight against discrimination was far from over, but we had taken a significant step forward. Together, we would continue to strive for a world where everyone is treated with the respect and dignity they deserve.